What up, peeps? I'm sorry. I did not do this. I was supposed to do this video yesterday, but I passed out fucking early, so I didn't get to do it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one right now, and then if I don't do it today, it'll be this weekend. I'm going to go in and rip apart that shitty Bel Air show. I'll probably do it today, though. It will probably be way later, but I'll do it today. And then Monday, I'll probably we're back to reviewing Jackie Chan movies. I just gotta figure out which one, but yeah. But today, or yesterday, I watched Robocop. The first one. And they're gonna be on Thursdays, just today, exception. But the first Robocop, I remember watching at, I think it was a little bit after I watched, Predator and Alien and Terminator and stuff. I remember how I watched it. Because someone made a fan-made video where it was like a Terminator versus Robocop thing. And I think that's how I watched it, because I didn't know what Robocop was. And I remember really liking it. But that first Robocop movie essentially is a story about a man finding his humanity again. Like, yeah, on the surface, it's like a typical sci-fi dystopian movie, but essentially, it's about a man named Murphy who, was a cop and was chasing down a gang owned by Clarence Boddicker, I think is his name, played by Kurt Wood, who he was great as a bad guy. Ends up fatally getting killed and basically becomes Robocop. And this movie is essentially about him, the first one anyway. He starts figuring out who he was and, going to his house and starts furthering realizing he was who he was. And then by the end, he calls himself Murphy. Like, it was an awesome movie. But the stop motion was done great. I just think it's an all-around great story. I always love kind of dystopian stories where basically, because of how bad crime is in this part of Detroit, the city grants a corporation called OCP. Basically, they're in charge of the police. And one of them, Dick, played by, you might remember him as Bogomil from the Beverly Hills Cop movies. And it's crazy, like, a good actor to me, if they can play a good character, like, because Bogomil's one of the nicest dudes in those movies. And then in this, he's a fucking slimy, evil asshole. And even the opening is crazy. I mean, with the news, and then they cut to Dick talking about the Ed 209, and then obviously the malfunction, and then another executive named Morton undercuts him, and basically this is where the Robocop program is mentioned, and then Burke even has him killed later in the movie. Like, it's just like, it's done so well. This is an all-around great movie. I mean, the score is great. The action is great. The sequels, I think, are fine. They are definitely more of the, like, traditional action, but I think the sequels are fine. Fuck that remake. Yeah, I will review the reboot. So I'm not gonna just do the trilogy. I was initially gonna just do the trilogy, but nah, I'll rip apart that shitty reboot. And like, one of the things the reboot really fucked up, granted, I know it's not supposed to be reviewed, I'm not gonna be reviewing it for weeks, but I just have to go in on this. They made it PG-13, so you're not gonna get that scene. Like, when Murphy gets tortured by Boddicker's gang before, he gets killed, you're not gonna get that in a PG-13 movie. You're just not. Like, anyway. But, yeah, this is an all-around great one. I heavily recommend it. It's not just like your traditional sci-fi action movie. It has a really deep story, just within Murphy's story, So, but, can I kick off the review now? And, let's do it. Cheers. So the movie, opens up. We basically it's a nice way to get us like integrated in this world. We get basically news people talking about what's going on and how OCP became in charge of the police force. We even get a word from Dick Jones, I think is the villain's name. But and because it starts off, you don't know what it's about. You don't really know where it's going. It can be anything. You just kind of know that it's in the like somewhat dystopian world. And then this is where we're introduced to Murphy, Officer Murphy, played by Peter Welling. And he is assigned a partner, Lewis. And then they have to jet because there's a chase going on. Aaron Spottiker and his gang are in pursuit. So we get a chase scene. Murphy and Lewis chase him to a warehouse. Murphy and Lewis get separated. While Lewis finds one of the gang, obviously, one of the dude punches her. So basically she gets knocked out. Murphy finds their hideout, but then he gets ambushed. And this is where we get his iconic death. Like, and the thing about this movie, it goes quick. Like, honestly, we're already at his death. Like, granted, it's only like an hour and a half or hour and 40, something like that. But it gets going. So yeah, Murphy gets killed, and yeah, his death scene is so sad, man. Because it's slow. He doesn't just like, they just shoot him to shit. Like, they shoot his hand off. And that's the thing, you're not going to get that in a PG-13 movie. I mean, I understand, like, it's just the weird, like, infatuation with, we gotta make it PG-13 because money is retarded. And I understand, I'm not going in on this movie yet, but it's just, like, the just opposite. Like, the first Robocop, you see Murphy's arm get blown the fuck off. You're not gonna, it makes his death scene that much more effective. And then he gets his arm blown off. And then, if I remember right, he then gets shot in the chest several times, and then Clarence shoots him in the head, and then the gang leaves. And then Murphy's body gets transferred to Morton, and then this is where we get basically our introduced to Robocop, and it was a solid way to introduce him. Like, they even kept the mystery of what he looked like for a bit. Like, you just kind of see his visuals, and then you somewhat see the back of him, and then we finally see what he looks like. He is then sent on his first outing, where he stops a robbery, and then he stops a woman from being raped, and then this is where you get the "you're coming with me," a lot of those lines. And I think Peter Welling, once he became a cyborg, did a really good job of playing a cyborg. Like, you notice the shift, like when he was Murphy in the beginning of the movie, and then once he becomes Robocop, it's done so well. But then, the news starts seeing him. He kind of becomes hailed as a hero. Dick confronts Morton in the bathroom at the office, and you could tell he's fucking angry for Morton going around him. While this is happening, Lewis starts kind of recognizing that Murphy is Robocop, and Robocop, this is where we get the scene where he starts realizing, we get the scene where he starts having nightmares about him dying, and then he leaves, and then this is where he runs into Emil, I think is his name, is one of Clarence's guys, is basically robbing a gas station, and Robocop basically freezes because he realized, because Emil mentions, "I thought we killed you," and like that was playing in his head over and over. And like, this movie is about a dude who was murdered, finding out, who became basically a robot, is basically have to try to find out who he is and who his humanity is again. That is the crazy thing about this movie. Like, yeah, it's an awesome sci-fi action movie, but it has a very deep storyline. Just that story alone. And they're not just like, obviously, how, I mean, basically a corporation owns the police. I mean, that could happen. Like, that's another thing. But just even with Murphy's story. So, gas station is blown up, and Dick has Clarence murder Morton. And it was, I mean, it was, I'm not going to lie, dude. He did really such a good job playing the villain. Um, like that scene where he shoots Morton in the leg, and then he just plays the video. And Kurtwood Smith was a great bad guy too, but he was kind of like I guess he was like the main bad guy for RoboCop in the sense of because he had more of the the personal reasons with RoboCop, like because he's the one who killed him, you know. Whereas Dick was just the guy who hired him, but he did such a good job. When he played that video, and you just see Dick like antagonize him on the fucking TV, and it just is done so well. So Clarence sets up basically a grenade and kills Morton, and RoboCop using Emil's photo basically IDs his friends and cohorts, and that's how he finds Clarence. Clarence is about to finalize a deal where RoboCop shows up, and we get a dope scene, just RoboCop fucking shit up, beats up on Clarence for a bit, wants to kill him, but then Clarence name drops Dick as the guy who hired him, and he's not able to kill him because he has to uphold the law. So he arrests Clarence while he tries to arrest Dick, but I know I'm saying Dick a lot in this review. Trying to not notice it, but it's hard. So when he's about to, Dick has this is basically where we get the drop of Protocol 4, where it's revealed that he can't arrest a higher up. Basically, it was a built-in malfunction. And while this happens, this is where we get the Ed 209 fight. It's pretty good fight, and I actually thought the stop motion for Ed 209 was done pretty good. You could tell it's stop motion, but it looks pretty good for its time. And if you probably, to be fair, I watched it in full 1080p. So when even older movies, you watch an older movie full 1080, you can tell sometimes when things look pretty bad. But it was still a solid fight, you know. RoboCop manages to escape, but Dick, because he's the head of the OCP, basically has the police turn on RoboCop, and they all shoot him and basically damage RoboCop a bit. But Lewis manages to save him and restore some of his parts, and this is where we get our first look at Murphy without the helmet, and those scenes themselves are really good because he's kind of really starting to realize what he was, you know. Oh, I kind of glossed over, but there's a scene where he goes to his former home of him and his kid, and and in certain parts of the house, you would see the kid or you'd see his wife. It's so well done. This is a story about a guy finding his humanity. He was turned into a robot, you know. So while this is happening, Dick frees Clarence and basically asks Clarence to kill RoboCop finally, and basically gives him some super heavy weaponry. And because of the underfunding and all this shit going on, a lot of the police are protesting, and because of this, there's a lot of riots and stuff like that going on. RoboCop is training to use his weaponry because his visuals are kind of fucked up, so he has to have Lewis kind of help him. And Clarence and his men arrive at the warehouse. They're mostly easily taken out, and Mill got fucked up, man. I think he got some kind of radiation thrown on him. His body started just getting disfigured and all this crazy shit. And So most of his men is taken out. Um, Lewis tries to take a shot at is chasing Clarence in a car, but because Emil got hit, Clarence basically swerves and crashes, and Lewis tries to kill him, but he gets the jump on her and he shoots her a couple times. Then Robocop calls him out, and one of Clarence's men that is alive drops like a bunch of like because they're at like a construction thing, so they drop like a bunch of hard like heavy rubble on him, and Lewis grabbed because they have like a sniper that basically can blow shit up. She uses it to kill the guy, and Clarence tries to kill Robocop, but Robocop kills him with a data spike. Pretty like this movie, the violence is needed, man, because it really like reinforces how fucked up this city is. You can't do that PG-13. I just don't. Anyway, I'll talk about that more when the movie comes out, but it's so stupid. But because that happened, so Clarence is killed, and I thought Kurtwood Smith played a really good like bad guy. You know, we all know him as Red Foreman, but he did really good in this movie. He wasn't the main bad guy, but I thought he did a pretty good job. So after that, Murphy confronts Dick Jones while he's giving like some kind of speech and kills Ned 209 and then storms the office. Dick tries to take one of the executives hostage. The boss fires him, so basically nullifies that protocol, and Robocop shoots him out the window and he dies. And then the guy says, "What do we call you?" And he says, "Just call me Murphy." So basically he's accepted that he's Murphy again. And the movie ends. Very awesome movie. I mean, not just like, once again, it's simple. They explain how his stuff work. I always love the armor. But I also gotta like say, like, I've been saying this a lot in this review, is the fact that the story about him finding his humanity again is just awesome. Like, it's so very well told. Like, he lost so much, you know? And then now he has to, like, regain his humanity again. And, because, yeah, he lost a wife and kid. You gotta, like, and it's just sad. And I thought the girl who played Lewis did a good job. Not a lot of side characters, really, besides Lewis, but that's fine. They really did a good job with the world, establishing how fucked up and dystopian it is. And the special effects, the score. Paul Verhoeven, I think, is who I saw as director, did a really good job with this movie. So, Peter Welling, bravo. Like, the fact that he could play like a normal human, but then switch it up, and actually he felt robotic, you know? And then even the scenes where he somewhat tried to embrace his humanity, and he was still a cyborg, but he, like, like, all the, like, the special, everything about this movie is great. Like, this is one of those, in my opinion, that is tentpole films that you have to watch. Like, it's up there with, like, the first two, but definitely the first Terminator, Alien, like, first Predator. Like, these are those movies I think you need to watch. I would even say the sequels, the two sequels. Because I remember really liking Robocop too. He's fighting this, like, super giant, well, not giant, but like this kind of giant robot, you know? It's definitely, the sequels aren't as, like, deep in terms of, like, they're definitely more action, whereas it's more about Robocop fucking shit up. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, because this was the 90s, you know? So, I definitely remember, and 3 was, I don't really remember 3. I gotta watch it again. I think 3 is where he got that, like, jetpack. I think that's the only thing I kind of remember from that movie. But, and then the reboot was fucking garbage. I'm gonna rip that movie apart. And I kind of did even in this review, like, that fundamentally they made it PG-13, which ruins what made this movie so effective was the R rating. It really showed you how, and then it showed you also how fucked up Murphy's death was. Dude was tortured. He got his hand shot off, then his whole arm shot off, and then he got shot to shit. He was somewhat still alive. It took like a headshot to finally kill him. Like, you're not going to get that in a PG-13 version. So I'm going to go in on that when that comes out. But first Robocop is like a 10, honestly. It's a great film. The score, man, is so fucking good. It's so iconic. But other than that, yeah, I heavily recommend this movie. Just if you haven't seen it. Later today, or Sunday if I don't do it today, I will be ripping apart Bel Air, that show. And I'm not really going to be ripping apart the story. I'm more going to be talking about what they have done with the characters, because what they do with certain characters, especially Carlton, oh my god, man, it is bad. Like, because this month, well, now it's April, but like most of March, I was rewatching Fresh Prince of Bel Air, and then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna torture myself and watch this show. And oh my god, it is so bad. Like, the actor who plays Will it's not his fault, but trying to make this show dramatic didn't work when the original was already kind of dramatic as it is. It was also a comedy. The actor doesn't have charisma. He's just kind of there. What they do with Carlton, oh my god, it is pathetic what they do with Carlton. But I'll talk about that a bit later. But like, cheers out, and then we'll peace out. I am gonna be watching Morbius today. I'm gonna find a way to watch it anyway. But for example, if I do the Fresh Prince of Bel Air video today, I might review Morbius Sunday night. So, but as usual, fuck Warner Brothers, fuck Disney, fuck LeBron, fuck Colin Kaepernick, fuck Seth Rogen, fuck Kevin Smith, and fuck the Biden administration. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace. Or Sunday.